This episode is brought to you by The Skeptical Buddha, The Tao of Science, my book, which is a thoughtful discourse on Eastern philosophy and how it helped birth ideas required for science and skepticism and the way it fell behind in the face of new evidence. This book discusses the long history of both philosophies as well as the tenets and variations within the varying sects, along with psychology and our own natural biases. It discusses how to counter our natural biases using science and the underlying concepts of meditation and mindfulness, a more complex understanding of how science operates than most of the public understands, and why it is the best tool we have to discover truth and reality, as well as philosophical ideas we might embrace as technology progresses. The material is packaged in a way that the average person can understand, with rich illustrations to draw the reader in and feel at peace. ThoughtSlime did a video late last year on the toxic and addictive nature of Twitter. I had never dealt with Twitter much other than to half-assedly promote my videos. Otherwise, it wasn't for me. I was a Facebook user the year after it came out as the Facebook. Then I began listening to all the awful stuff Zuck had done, such as cause 2 genocides and no less than 5 fascist leaders, and began to try some others. Twitter was too overwhelming. I didn't understand how to regulate infinite scroll. Say what you will about Facebook, but at least thanks to its curation, it gets to an endpoint. Twitter is exactly as ThoughtSlime said, so addictive, overwhelming, and toxic. I began searching around for other sites. MeWe looked promising, but it has a lot to be desired other than pretty pictures, and has misinformation regulation issues as well. I was still going on occasion until recently for pretty pictures, but I found an alternative now that takes care of me more than often. I tried Wiki Tribune, which claimed to be a social media site, but it really wasn't. It was more of an interactive newsfeed aggregator and didn't even have a functioning app. I stumbled across other specialized ones, including Liker, which just the name is dumb and apparently has the opposite problem to Parler and is abuzz with misinformation and fake news on the left. Others just didn't make the cut for me, including Minds, which use cryptocurrency, which is an immediate red flag for me. Then I discovered the world of decentralized social media. As an anarchist, which ThoughtSlime is, this sort of open source software is used as the poster child that people can self-organize without a central authority. Individuals run their own servers, and it will never make money or get terrible algorithms or data sales because it's not possible to make money, and if someone tries, the rest of the community can easily block them. This is a social media by and for the people. The collective network of servers and platforms is referred to as the Fediverse. My favorite platform, aside from PixelFed, is Friendica, which sounds lame in English, but apparently sounds cool in German where it was developed. The big thing for me about Friendica is that I can run my Twitter account through it, and I can basically have it as my news aggregator, eliminating the need for news apps. There is evidence that Twitter likes to put you in a room feed with people who disagree enough with you to cause conflict, but not too extreme that you block everyone. Like with Facebook, conflict and anger boosts disengagement and addiction factors, yet makes everyone using it feel like crap and the nation more divided. A good faith argument these days is literally impossible on any corporate algorithm-based platform. However, when I run it through Friendica, I'm not in any room, and I just follow people I want to follow, don't get any recommendations to follow other people, and can adjust to block infinite scrolling so that I can be done, and when I get through 20 or 30 posts, I'm done. People on Twitter can still interact with me, but unlike before, I'm not trapped in the assigned Twitter room with you. You are trapped in here with me, and I've got plenty of friends over on the Fediverse side who I disagree with, but we are actually able to have a good faith debate because there is no for-profit algorithm there trying to make us fight, trapping us in a room and shaking the bottle to piss us off so we blindly attack each other. So if you're an avid Twitter user and hate it but can't get away, Friendica might be for you. Because of this, I haven't had to experience the toxicity of Twitter like my partner does. Add to this that it's estimated that 40% of all internet interactions online are bots trying to influence you, and growing and just getting away from the big platforms helps you so much. There is the US government trying to manipulate us with AI bots, giant corporations trying to manipulate us, and many foreign governments trying to do that too. There's a great giant bot war out there online, which is why I'm glad I'm off Facebook and IG, except just to keep in touch with friends and run Twitter through Friendica so I can see what I want to see instead of what they want me to see. Curating is a bit more work, but I have full control. I use Twitter and Facebook now for certain functions only, but I spend way more time on Friendica and PixelFed, and I'm much healthier mentally for it. I go over this in more detail about how to do this in my 3-part Fediverse shorts, each around 2 minutes long, telling you what it is, which platform may be right for you, and how to sign up, as well as my 5-part Friendica tutorial, but here's the quick and dirty of how to do it. Go to Fediverse Observer and look for an open instance and check those boxes based on your language and location. It's best to get one at least on your continent for better speeds. Once you've found one, sign up for it and pick a handle and give them an email. Once you get a reply and get a password, go to Settings, select Accounts and Passwords, and change it to a new password. Next, you want to go down to Social Networks in Settings. Click on the Twitter Import-Export mirror. Some may not have it, mine does. Click on the Connect to Twitter and follow the directions. Now, just wait a minute and your Twitter feed will start flowing in. You will only ever see people you actually follow, and it filters out all the garbage. To help with addiction, go to Settings, Display Settings, Content/Layout, and turn off Infinite Feed. If you don't see someone you find really important because they haven't posted anything since you created the profile, you can do so by going to Contacts, going here to add new contacts, and then putting @twitter.com on the end of their handle. Then click Request and it should automatically follow them. There are people's accounts in the Fediverse that require approval before adding. That's not true about Twitter. There you have it. Pin this to home on your phone or run it through one of your apps like Tusky or several other Mastodon-made social media apps, and you get to use Twitter in a much more enjoyable format. Of course, I like to group mine so I can see more people, so I can go to Contacts, go over to the groups. I can create new group by clicking on this plus sign. After that, I go over and right-click the person icon and click which group or groups I want to see them in. Then after that, I can go to my feed and click on this group or list, as they call them in Twitter, and I see things from this Twitter feed, so I don't miss as many in the great mess of feed that exists. It takes a bit of time and work, but it helps keep them organized. The rest of what you can do is in my 5-part tutorial, as it's a really robust platform. If you aren't sure if this is for you, check out my more recent video discussing which Fediverse platform is right for you. And if you want to understand the Fediverse more, check out my 3-part series on the Fediverse. If you're using Twitter as a way to gain followers and fame, it's going to be toxic. All the tactics required to gain followers require toxicity in your life. If you scroll Twitter unchecked without giving yourself a stopping point, it's also going to be toxic. The infinite scrolling literally uses the same mechanism as slot machines use to keep you going. Why using Twitter through Friendica as a newsfeed/social media to keep in touch with people like Facebook is so much less toxic than either site. It will be occasionally aggravating, but nothing like you will ever experience on either of the major platforms. In fact, there was a recent Mastodon discussion trying to explain to former Twitter users that you can't use the same tactics such as branding, starting fights, or virtue signaling that you often can go viral on Twitter with. All that does in the Fediverse is make people want to block you. Since there are no algorithms, you can't go viral. It's impossible. Likes don't mean anything other than the feel good for you. If you want to gain followers, you have to be nice to people and post good quality stuff. You have to actually build an online community network as opposed to being a bunch of storefronts yelling at people as they pass by. If you've tried to look into and join either and have been confused, contact me or just go to friendica.myportal.social, which is my Friendica instance, or toot.cat, which is my Mastodon instance. Pixelfed.social is my Pixelfed instance. Hit me up and I'll add you there. So as always, thank you all for watching this as a video or listening to this as a podcast, which I'm sure was completely uncontroversial to anyone, especially to the YouTube monetization team. So if you found this useful, please donate to my Patreon. Just a reminder that I'm Anubis2814 on YouTube, and I have almost 700 videos on my channel that I've made over the past 11 years on religion, science, psychology, and politics. Please go check them out, and if your site has the option, like, rate, review, and comment. A special thanks goes out to Kendall Copperberg, Mylon Mia, Ogrel, Elias Garcia Guevara, and Joe Taylor for their $10 or more Wapawet level donations. I'm always humbled by the fact that they find my work worth funding and worth driving me forward. Thank you all. Please consider donating to my work if you can, and thank you all for listening.